Good evening. Good morning. I said it backwards. Good afternoon, wherever or whenever you may be. This is the overnight. I am DM Foss, and with me is Baron. How's it going, Baron?
Pretty good. Still
Yeah.
have not drank any water since the chip challenge.
It's okay for you to drink some water.
Yeah, maybe. Or
And
liquid. Let's make that clear. No soda.
in the back room is Night Strike and Guns Barbecue, and we'll bring them up in just a little bit.
Bring out the
Instead of
gimps.
instead of doing the roundtable tomorrow, because we've gone over the Second Amendment so many times already. We'll cover maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then we'll bring in the rest of the panel and then do the uh, roundtable tonight. But let's go to the live chat real quick and see who was out there. I know Mike White was out there like 12 hours ago when I scheduled the chat. So he won't show up on the out there. But
And I dropped their channel links. Go sub to them if you're not.
DJ Play Nice is out there, and C&T Designs and Arms, Mike McClune, Krabby Turtle, Abigail Sorsha Finnegan, Gunpowder Beauty, Carolina EDC Reviews said he just got a community guideline strike. I think there's something going on because there's also I've heard some guys have gotten something like warnings about comments and misinformation or something like that. It was something I had never seen before. Gunmetal Guy USA, Night Strike is out there squawking. Bjorn, good evening. So we'll so for tonight we'll just do I think I guess I should have called up the. Can you bring up the Second Amendment so we can read the
Yeah, let me grab it.
Second Amendment, and we'll do um, maybe some recent updates on court cases. There's it. Oh, for anybody that watches this in replay, and that reminds me to get the banner going also. So there's a banner at the bottom of the screen with an email and a link, and those that get you somewhere, you can send in comments, suggestions, or Gorn pictures of whatever within reason. And if you watch this in replay, go ahead and leave a comment. Whatever we talk about, if you agree, disagree, or think we left something out, let me know. I always read the comments. Oh, so why don't you go ahead and read the Second Amendment? What it says there.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Pretty
It's
simple.
pretty short, and you would think plain language, but there's still squabbles over um, the militia part and the people part and keeping and bearing arms part and the shall not be infringed part.
You mean the entire thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Uh, so I was um, doing a lot of reading. One of the links I put in the description, there's a link for the uh, New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. That's the big case that happened recently. uh, and that they, in that case, they reference Heller, the Dick Heller versus DC case, which I didn't put a link for the Heller one. I should have. But so the New York pistol and rifle case has already had a lot of significance. It's had an effect on cases that are coming up, and will continue to have, because it sets changes the way that the courts are supposed to look at these rulings. The
the scrutiny
guidelines
they put them under.
The courts had been using a two-step where they balanced the individual's rights with the I forget exactly how they put it. But seeing if I have it in my notes, which I probably don't. But they used a two-step process, which instead of saying this is the plain text, it's, well, this is the plain text, but the government should be able to infringe some to protect the people. And what the New York State Rifle and Pistol, which is normally called Bruin, but Bruin is the infringer. So I try to use New York State Rifle and Pistol Association to give them credit for bringing the case and winning the case. But that changed it to where there still is kind of a two-step, but it's not that balancing act anymore. Now it's using historical precedents, and there is now a push for, instead of the original document being the historical precedents, moving it to 1868 when the 14th Amendment was adopted. And basically, when it freed the slaves, then you started seeing a lot of gun laws to infringe upon the now freed slaves, not allowing them to carry guns. And so they're using racist laws to infringe on everyone. That's their historical precedents.
Not surprised.
No. And
so the second step was means and scrutiny.
But it's there's been some after the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, which is a lot to say, but I'm making an effort to say it. There was immediately New York tried to expand their sensitive areas.
They sure did.
To make everything a sensitive area, so you can't carry in sensitive areas. And that was struck down. It's still going to have to go through the courts, because the judge upheld the church not carrying in church clause. So he didn't strike down everything. So it's going to have to work its way through the courts a little bit to get ironed out. Excuse me. And there was another case, U.S. versus Quiroz, who Quiroz had, his was I believe his was the serial number one, wasn't it?
I do not know this one.
It because there was one that came out of West Virginia. Was the West Virginia? No, I'm all mixed up. There, somebody got caught with a handgun that had the serial number ground off,
Okay, ground off.
and so I believe it was West Virginia. The court said that looking at historical precedents, serial numbers were not required, so that charge was dropped. It was thrown out.
No shit.
Yep.
And when was this?
Just recent. I don't have the date. I don't have a link.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about this.
Yeah.
Should we turn my camera on and we can ground off some serial numbers?
Maybe not just yet. Yeah, it was West Virginia. A federal judge in West Virginia has ruled that a federal ban on possession of a gun with its serial number removed. That was Randy Price, not Quiroz. Randy Price. So he got caught with it. Which, to me, if you can make your own guns and they don't need a serial number, what's the difference between that and having a gun where you ground off the serial number? There's not. I don't really see a huge difference between the two.
Your warranty may be voided.
Yeah.
That's about it.
The Quiroz, that one was he was being tried for a felony, but had not been convicted. This was in Texas.
Yes.
And so he lied on a 4473 and got charges for lying on the 4473, and he had gotten a gun by lying, but it was found out quickly and he was arrested. But he lied about.
Are you currently under indictment for a felony or whatever the wording is?
There were two lies that he did on the 4473, but when he went to trial, I can't remember if it was when he was arrested or I think it was when he was convicted for it, was the day that the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association ruling came out. So he immediately fought his conviction.
He got lucky.
Yeah. And it was overturned because he was being indicted, but he was not a felon. So the court ruled that that somebody under indictment can possess a firearm because they're not a felon. Let me say a quick hello to PNW Woods and Caucasian Sasquatch, Vanessa Kitty, and was there anybody else? So I think I got everybody. Hopefully I didn't miss you. If I missed somebody, I apologize.
I got a fun question for you.
Yes.
We were talking about who should be able to buy guns, and like what the process should be when you go into a gun shop, like hand money, they hand you the gun, that style. If they're wearing like Department of Corrections jumpsuit and no shoes, do you sell them a gun? Or is that like enough? Like, not only is this guy dangerous, he probably just escaped from prison. What do you think? Don't sell him a gun. Did he freeze? My question blew his head.
I'm back.
He's back.
Well, we can talk about.
He's not back.
Everybody up. Yep. Am I here? Can you hear
You're
me?
here for the moment.
All right. So we can talk all about that when we bring everybody up in just a few minutes. There's I put a link to website Dave Kopel. It's a really good read. It's a bad formatting. The website looks like it's from the 90s. It's kind of plain text, but there's a huge amount of information, and he looks at the question of balancing the what was the two-step process? What did you say that was?
Means and scrutiny.
Yeah, balancing that against the I can't remember how he puts it, but the two sides that are battling. Goes into depth into different cases. He's got some pretty lengthy credentials, which I don't have in front of me, but he's talked before the GRPC. Before, is that GRPC? Gun Rights Policy Coalition. So he seems to know his stuff, and there's a lot of information in it. It's a pretty neat deep dive if you really want to get into it. It's a little tough to read because of the way the page is formatted, but there's a lot of information there. It's pretty good. And let's see, one other thing. There's a lot of stories now that are talking about these more recent rulings, and they reference the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association ruling, and they call it, though you'll see where they call it like the largest
You keep breaking up.
All right, so you're seeing a lot of stories where they're calling the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association ruling the largest expansion of gun rights in some time, which is complete BS to me, because they're not expanding gun rights. They're protecting gun rights. These are rights that are supposed to be there, and they have been chipped away. And what this does is restore and limit the power of the government, which is what the Constitution is supposed to do.
So more of a reestablishment of protections.
Yes. And then another thing that I've, as I was reading the last couple of days, is where people are talking public opinion. People want this, people want that. Well, the reason the Constitution is there is to protect the minority, not just, I'm not speaking nationality or race or anything like that, but to protect the minority from the tyranny of the majority. That's what the Constitution does. So if there's a smaller group of people with an opinion, but that's a 100% legal opinion, you can't have a majority of people take away their rights because they don't like the fact they have those rights. And that's one of the arguments, kind of the left. It's a lot of the left. There are some, unfortunately, people on the right, Republicans and whatnot, who do not like people having guns, that agree with that. But, you can't vote away what there is a process to change the amendments. Takes 2/3 of the states to vote. So a local law is not changing the Constitution. So local laws that infringe on gun rights are unconstitutional.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more.
So I think, do you recall any other cases that have come up recently? Those were kind of the big ones that I could remember.
I have one that's kind of tangential to the 2A. Has to do with the ATF and what's it called? Chevron deference.
Yes.
The bump stock.
The
I don't know if you want to get into that.
well, we can real quick because there's the bump stock case that was in front of the Supreme Court that went up. They decided not to hear that one, but there's a couple other ones that are coming up that they might hear. And from what I heard, from a couple of different places, is it has to do with how far through the system. That's not quite the right wordage, but basically how much the court has already looked at these cases. So the Supreme Court wants these to have been the cases that they rule on to have got their full process done in lower courts before coming to them. And the one that was before them, there was something about it that it hadn't gone through as much as, say, at least one of the other cases that are supposed to come up in the next session. So that's kind of what I had heard is, so they decided to set that one aside and then wait for that other one to come up and then rule on that one.
Fingers crossed.
So I think it'll be a real interesting, the next Supreme Court session. I kind of think there will be some more big rulings for the Second Amendment, but you never know is the other part of it.
Yeah, one of them could drop dead any day.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens in the coming months. And I think that's pretty much what I had to bring us up to date. Was there anything else that you were thinking of?
That's it. Just the Chevron deference bump stock thing.
Yeah, because when they didn't take that, that
was a big surprise to me.
It was, but then once I had heard an explanation, then okay, then we'll see what happened. That's
I just hope this isn't 4D chess. Like, oh no, it's 4D chess. They know what they're doing.
And that's what a lot of the cases that the Supreme Court doesn't take. Sometimes it'll be there's a procedural thing that didn't happen, so they send it back to the lower courts for it to. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not sure the proper terms to use, but to make sure it goes through the complete process that it's supposed to go through. So sometimes they'll do that when they kick it back down to the lower courts. Sometimes they won't hear it because it's something in the case is not proper, so they won't hear it.
For example, the mag ban in the 9th in California that went up to the Supreme Court, and they declined to hear it, and they said, kick it back down and redo it, right?
Yeah.
They could have just ruled on that, and it would have been nationwide mag bans are unconstitutional. Instead, we're still waiting.
Yeah, and that's part
kind
of the
pissed me off a little.
Fully going through all the processes that it needs to go through.
Yeah.
Before it gets back to them. And then the other thing I meant to mention is with the West Virginia and the
EPA.
No, the case that I was talking about, the
serial number one.
Yeah, the serial number, and then the
it was U.S. versus Dick Van Dyke, right? Something like that.
What? But those cases, they don't apply to nationwide. They are circuit. whatever circuit they happened in, it only applies to that circuit. But having been tried in federal court, it helps set judicial precedents. So it becomes a case that when other cases are being ruled, it can be referenced. That's why it's important that these happen in federal court, even if it's a lower court. It becomes an even smaller little chunk, but it's a small chunk that gets put back. And then, so when there's other rulings on something similar in other circuits, they can reference this, or the Supreme Court can reference these rulings also. That's why it's kind of a bummer that they don't apply nationwide, but it is still important for these small victories, kind of localized victories, because it can later on have effect on the total. But so let me bring back up Guns Barbecue and Night Strike. Thank you for your patience, fellas.
Did we put them to sleep?
We might have.
Yes. I dozed off there for a second.
They filled up on the warm bologna in the back room.
What's that bologna? I thought that was beef jerky.
I don't know. It was only 29 cents a pound, so whatever it was. I had a roommate that he brought back some packaged meat, and we were going to just fry it up, throw it in with some spaghetti. I'm like, well, what is this? And he goes, I don't know what it was, but it was only 39 cents a pound. So you have any opinions, either of you, on what the cases that we referenced?
I own a few firearms that don't have serial numbers.
I don't know if I do.
I got an old 22 J. Stevens Springfield Model 83. They didn't put serial numbers on them, so it didn't have a serial number.
Yes, I forget when.
Well, the serial numbers weren't required until 1968 GCA.
Yep.
Yeah, before then it was if the company wanted to put them on for inventory purposes or warranty purposes, they could, but it was not mandatory.
No. Though I saw, and I've already heard about that serial number case, and that went well. Everything else, par for the course right now. They're still fighting it out in New York. New York, it's like the local guys are trying to supersede the decision by saying, "Oh, the local laws say you can't have guns in Times Square and whatnot." They're playing, fast and loose with the ruling in New York. Unfortunately, because
I'd like to compliment the people fighting that case in New York. Good on you. All these people that say, "Oh, New York is lost. Just give up, move." Fuck that. Fight every inch. Get it up to the Supreme Court. Have them rule on it. That's what you can do.
Yeah, they did that in New York. They tried to implement a law to get around it, and that didn't work out. But now the local government, like the mayor of New York City, is saying, "Oh yeah, no, you can't carry guns here, unless you're law enforcement." And that's gonna have to go through another lawsuit to have the judge strike that down.
Let me say a quick hello to the bearded guy and Geezer Gary. Good evening, fellas.
Because you heard about that, right?
Yeah. It now I just lost my thought.
It's New York isn't quite lost yet, but it's an uphill battle.
Oh yeah, that I remember. Somewhere in the readings that I did, that was one of the arguments that was brought up about. I might have it. Sensitive places.
Yeah,
but expanding the category of sensitive places simply to all places public congregation of public congregation that are not isolated from law enforcement defines the category of sensitive places far too broadly.
Mm-hmm.
Respondents' argument would in effect exempt cities from Second Amendment and would eviscerate the general right to publicly carrying arms for self-defense that we discussed in detail below. See part blah blah blah. Put simply, there is no historical basis for New York to effectively declare the island of Manhattan as a sensitive place simply because it is crowded and protected generally by the New York Police Department. That was, I believe that was an excerpt from the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association ruling,
Mm-hmm.
which there is a link for that if you want to read through the actual ruling itself. There's a link in the description for that also.
And they did rule that, there was 4 different sensitive places. It was courtrooms,
Polling places.
Yeah.
schools, and churches.
Hospitals.
Yeah, I don't remember there's always one I forget.
Post office.
Yeah, how does that work? Why can't you carry in a post office? The fuck's wrong with that?
The bigger question is, you're not allowed to bring because they got no gun signs on the post office when you walk in, right?
Yeah.
But say you're shipping a firearm, does that mean you can't bring a firearm in a post office in a box that you're shipping out either? Because it doesn't say no. It doesn't say no. It just says no guns. It doesn't say no concealed carry or no open carry. So it's like if you have to ship a gun, you're allowed to in certain circumstances within the law to ship through the U.S. Postal Service, but there's no, does it have to be in a box that you're shipping, or they don't stipulate that?
Yeah, I don't know. I've never shipped a firearm, so I don't know if they have to come pick it up. Yeah, because according to the federal law, you cannot carry on U.S. Postal Service property. So if the parking lot is only for the post office, you cannot carry within that parking lot.
Well,
if it's a shared parking lot with another business, then
yeah. Well, there is a stipulation in that, okay? Because in some states that have castle doctrine, you can keep it in your car. You just can't take it outside of your car onto the parking lot. Well, see, there's a little stipulation right there, but so it stays in your car when you get into the when you leave the car to go into the building and whatnot. But
By the way, we'd like to welcome Gun Websites onto the show.
Good evening. Thanks for the link.
so
feel free
to jump in here.
Yes, feel free to comment on anything that we've discussed so far.
What do you think of that ridiculous scenario I put forth?
I
You
guess
got a guy, no shoes, in correctional jumpsuit. You sell him a gun?
Probably not. I mean, I don't know what the circumstances are. Like, is he out of breath in an alley?
Oh, he walked into your store. He's not wearing shoes, and he's wearing a
Oh, no.
correctional jumpsuit.
No. Did
So-
anybody answer yes to that?
I probably wouldn't sell him a gun. That doesn't mean I don't think he might have the right to own one. It's just I probably don't want to get shot in the face and have all my money stolen out of my till. That's just me.
You can ship long guns, but not
Yeah.
handguns.
Hmm. Handguns need to go FedEx or UPS. What about others? Do they ship others?
Well, you should be able to because oh, sorry, I was thinking something else. You can probably ship anything. People ship drugs. You can probably ship guns.
Wonder if you could ship a receiver. Because technically, that's not a handgun or a rifle yet. I don't know. It's interesting. Night Strike, you selling a gun to a guy in a jumpsuit with no shoes?
If I want to keep my FFL, no.
What about you, Foss?
Probably not. No shoes, no service.
No shoes, no service.
Yeah, no shoes, no shirt, no service. A jumpsuit doesn't technically count as a shirt. You know I'm right there too.
Yep.
So
Was there? Did you, Baron? You had some other questions, didn't you? Also, that we had talked about previously, not tonight.
Probably did. Don't anymore.
Yeah, I have forgotten.
I could pull some out of my ass.
Go ahead.
Okay,
We
let
need
me
some
reach in there.
topics.
please, disinfect.
Can we turn my
after you're
camera
done.
on?
No, disinfect after you're done, please.
I'll put on a glove.
We don't need you flinging feces all over the place like a monkey.
So, we're not talking about what is currently acceptable legally, like from ATF doctrine on the way down. What is constitutional? You know the difference. Like right now, ATF saying bump stocks are legal. Constitutionally, they should be legal. So my question is, should non-citizens have the right to purchase a firearm in the United States?
They currently do. You
Yeah.
can.
I'm asking if our panelists think they should have that right, or if it only applies to citizens.
You're trying to make us out to be the bad guys. I get it.
You don't have to be the bad guy.
Well, it kind of
You want us to agree with the ATF. Shame on you.
it kind of goes back to the first video in the series when we were talking about rights and
Oh,
should they just be for citizens, and
well,
so it kind of falls in that line.
okay. I'm gonna preface this with my understanding as I understand the Constitution and the law. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Have a good night, Matt Sexy.
as far as the Constitution, the law, it says the right of the people, and who are the people? The people are the United States citizens. So technically, if you go by the letter of the law, if they're not a citizen of the country, technically, they shouldn't be able to buy guns. Okay, but again, that's a gray area because technically, if they're over here, for a long duration of time anyways, what constitutes a citizen?
Well, the citizen isn't mentioned until 1868 when
It's not mentioned
14th
until later,
Amendment
and that's the
is
problem.
enacted with the Equal Protection Clause.
Right, and that's why I said it's a gray area on that whole situation right there.
I'll give you a kind of a similar situation. Like First Amendment protects the rights of the press. Doesn't mean you have to have a citizenship to be protected as press in the United States. You can be foreign and still have the same protection.
Okay. Remember, I was just going by what the law stipulates. I wasn't trying to, take. It's not my personal stance one way or the other. I mean,
That's why I tried to word it, not what the ATF is saying now, but what you believe the Constitution means. So is that a protected right for people because they're humans, or because they have citizenship?
is that so? You're saying it's only humans? So my dog doesn't have, Second Amendment rights?
Well, he has the right to protect himself.
I mean,
I don't know if he can use a gun.
I know I have to protect him from the ATF.
There have been a couple stories of guys being shot by their dogs. One guy was climbing over a fence, and the dog followed him, hit the trigger, shot him. And then the other one, I think, was in a truck where he had the shotgun, or I think it was a shotgun, loaded, and the dog hit the trigger, shot him.
I would argue those dogs didn't do that intentionally. Those were negligent discharges.
So manslaughter, not murder.
Well, technically it'd be dog slaughter, wouldn't it?
Well, they didn't slaughter a dog, though.
No, but it's only manslaughter when another man does that to another man. So it's gonna be dog slaughter.
So Gary's asking, are we making a distinction here between legal and illegal immigrants?
That's
Or
another good question.
People
That is another good
visiting
question.
the U.S. from abroad.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Barron is not making a distinction between any of that. It's
Just talking about humans.
Yep. If, as he has stated, if you are within the U.S., any person that is within the U.S. for whatever reason gets those rights.
Yeah,
because of the way the
Protections.
Constitution is worded. Yeah,
They already had the rights. They're just not allowed to be infringed on by the government.
I'd like to think that it should apply to those that are here legally.
Yep.
And those who are visiting from abroad. Because technically, if you think about it, those who are here illegally, they're already a criminal because they entered the country illegally, because they already broke the country's law. So they're already a criminal.
But on that same note, we just covered a Supreme Court case where the guy still had his Second Amendment rights, even though he's being indicted for a felony. So, theoretically, by that logic, they don't lose their Second Amendment right until they're in jail. And they're not in jail. They're in the public.
Okay. But again,
that's the way I'm looking at it.
Well, yes, but if you've broken a law to get in the country illegally,
I would
technically that would make you a criminal because you broke the law.
What about the innocent until proven guilty, though?
Exactly.
Oh, that doesn't exist anymore.
But do you want it to exist?
I would like it to exist, but it doesn't anymore. Have you looked at red flag laws?
Have a good night, Gary.
I don't know if anyone on the panel agrees with red flag laws.
No. Well, whether we agree with them or not, it's not the issue. The issue is the red flag laws basically say you're guilty until proven innocent. So, and some states have those laws, unfortunately.
Yes, we have them.
So it's, and I'm not saying I agree with any of the law, because the law is weird, and it's unfortunately it's been piled up, law above over law over law over law, and it's really hard to decipher because it's gotten to a ridiculous degree. And I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that, according to the law, we have this.
One of the things in the, I'm pretty sure it's in the Dave Kopel in that I guess it's not quite. I guess it's an article. I don't know how to classify it, but Within there, he kind of goes through the argument of states' rights versus federal government,
Mhm.
and where gun laws should be. What he does, I don't believe he states it, but goes through the argument on both sides. Those who believe it belongs in the states, and those who believes it's belongs in the federal government. The in this context, he's talking Second Amendment,
Right.
and then how that how different sides are using that argument to bolster their opinions. So the federal government shouldn't be able to make the law that the state government should be, and the federal government should basically just be settling disputes between states, basically.
Yeah. Well,
The interstate commerce.
It's that how it actually works? No, the federal government has instituted laws, that sometimes supersede state laws. And I don't know whether whether the federal government had the right to do that in the first place.
On some of this, I do get caught in between. Where do you
Where do you draw the line?
Yeah, between states' rights and federal.
That's
I
a good
would,
question.
I would argue any state law that breaks the Constitution, any of the amendments in the Constitution, should be struck down.
I do kind of follow along that line where just because all the states ratified the Constitution, so they all agreed to abide by the Constitution.
At that point in time, yes. Things have changed lately, and now trying to get all the states to agree on one thing is going to be ridiculous. But at that point in time, they did. Yes.
I got a monkey wrench to throw into this conversation.
Please.
What about Puerto Rico?
Half the states agreed to constitutional carry.
Good point.
Puerto Rico territory.
What
What about it?
What? Just to touch on what G. Webs is saying, I would view that a little bit different because they're not all voting on this. Well, they are. I'm trying to figure out how to word this the best way to make it my point understandable. Each state is voting on constitutional carry, but they're not voting to make it national, like the Constitution.
Yeah, because they're not trying to make it a law where everybody can do it. They're only doing it in their state.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not like, in other words, like they said, hey, everybody vote right now. And 50 states said, we vote this way. It's more of like after a while, they all just did this.
Yeah.
Also, remember, look at the states that have enacted constitutional carry. Look at how they word their constitutional carry law, because they may not always say the same thing or be the same. They're the same exact wording. The wording is different in each and every state.
Mm-hmm.
New York Outcast is out there. Good morning.
So they would need to do a constitutional convention.
Yeah, and then that's I worry about another constitutional convention, because that opens a can of worms for them to be able to take the Second Amendment away from us entirely.
If there was a constitutional convention, what swag would your state have? I feel like we'd have some sort of a cactus, maybe a keychain or something with a cactus.
Bigfoot tracks ice cream for Washington.
So Ben and Jerry's and Sasquatch
handing out red delicious apples. That's what they do.
Yep.
Yeah.
So what do you think? If we had a constitutional convention right now, would we be more likely to lose rights or gain them?
Gain them right now.
I think it would be a push.
I feel like we'd lose as many as we gained.
I feel like that too.
That's a push. Then you're all agreeing with the push.
Yep.
There was something I meant to bring up, and I just forgot what I remembered that I had forgotten. There is a bill working. It's not. I think it's been proposed, and there are 14 people backing it, or I don't know what the term is. Can't think of it. To remove short barrel rifles and short barrel shotguns from the NFA.
About time.
The short act or something like that.
Yeah. And which I think is good. I know there are some detractors that don't like that because it's
because they lose the money on the $200 they spent.
No, it's because they're not going after the NFA itself, just parts of the NFA. And I would say I'm fine with that. Go after parts of the NFA, go after the complete NFA, hit it anywhere and anytime you can. Each little chunk, I think, puts another piece of your rights back.
I feel like we should whittle it away, like they whittled our rights away. And the only way to get our rights back is to whittle these infringements away piece by piece.
I say whittle where you can whittle, and if you can get a chunk, get a chunk. The New York State Pistol and Rifle Association was getting a chunk back. And that'll bring along, I think it'll bring along more little pieces as other court cases that are affected by that come up.
You kind of do what the Hughes Amendment did. Every time we pass a bill, you put in a pro-gun amendment. You just keep doing that every fucking bill. Doesn't matter if you win. You'll win eventually. There
are a lot of anti-gun bills that's the way they do.
That's what they do.
They get proposed every session. That's the mag ban in Washington State. That's what that did. They kept proposing it, and it would get defeated. Wouldn't make it out of committee, and then finally it made it out of committee, and it got passed because they kept pushing it and kept pushing it and kept pushing it.
They're the little anti-gun train that could. They finally got up that hill. Yeah. We can do the same thing.
Yeah, we should.
Okay, well, we had the Hearing Protection Act that didn't go through the first time. I think that took 4 or 8, probably 4 times, Hearing Protection Act, until it ended in 18. And then National Reciprocity, I'm not a big fan of that one. I never have been, so I can't say I remember off the top of my head, but I'm assuming that wasn't the first time it went through. Those both got stifled completely under Trump in 18 with Vegas.
So for National Reciprocity, I'm pretty sure, I know why you feel that way, but why don't you explain why you feel that way, why you don't like that, the National Reciprocity?
Because that gives a power to the federal government that they don't have, an authority that they don't have. So
exactly,
be granting them the ability to deem something that isn't their ability to deem. So I'm not seceding that to them. If the states want to somehow decide to accept their deals, awesome. I don't care if they do or not. But I don't want the federal government deciding for us what the states can do. I think the state sovereignty is better than the convenience. And it's a frustrating one because there's a lot of population in those states that are under those infringements. But we're stronger when we remove the infringements through awareness and getting people off our backs rather than forcing people to deal with things, because we're being forced to deal with things. Like, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And we're winning. We've had accomplishments through awareness.
Super bad videos out there.
What the fuck?
But
is this for real?
I hadn't heard. I don't know.
That can't be. He was talking to me in Gilded like 2 hours ago.
It might have been speech to text.
No,
No, he's fucking with us.
I don't have a clue. I have not heard from him, so I don't know.
He's trying to sleep after having his
he has
He's
fun
one-
all night.
yeah.
He's trying to sleep and everything, and
Son
everybody
of a
starts telling him, "Are you all right? What's happening? I heard you're in the hospital." What? Huh?
Yeah, he's just giving him shit.
So, Rob, are you coming on? Wednesday night mouse party? Double gummy challenge. Have we mentioned this yet?
No, you haven't. Go ahead. Mention it.
So today, or yesterday, depending on where you are, we had the One Chip Challenge on G23's channel. And I apparently won somehow through audience poll. It was a 3-way tie. And here is G23's channel link out there. And so I challenged the other 2 winners to a little nitro gummy bear challenge. It's 9 million Scovilles. And the challenge is to eat 2.
Rob, I'm going to send you a link. You can jump in. I almost sent him the link for the last chat.
I've done that before.
I've done that too.
I've sent a Guns and Barbecue chat link instead of the overnight.
Yeah, and he's like, "Where is everybody?"
Yep. Did you guys start yet? Yeah, where are you?
All right, Rob, I sent you a link so you can jump in. No excuses.
Like, he's doing his hair.
Oh, are we done with this topic already?
I think so. I think we, we put Guns and Barbecue to sleep.
We could talk about, do you have the right to own nukes? That'd get us an hour.
We can.
Well, to summarize, then I jumped in late, I guess. How did you approach this? This was the Second Amendment, I guess. So, how did you approach the topic tonight?
Basically, it was just kind of updates on the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association case, and then the cases that have the recent cases that have been affected because of that. The serial number 1 out of West Virginia, and the Texas, the guy who was under indictment but not convicted, who bought a gun.
Uh-huh.
And
There's Rob.
do you know who Dave Kopel is?
Yeah, researcher and author.
Yeah.
Is he a lawyer? I think he might be a lawyer too.
He's got a lot of credits. I put a link for his. He's got a really in-depth look at the argument for both sides, and he goes through a bunch of cases that are both 2A, and then ones that might not be 2A, but they have an effect on the Second Amendment on his website. There's a lot of information there. Like I said, it looks like a 90s website. It is not formatted very well, so it's a little tough to read. But there's a lot of good stuff in there. If somebody wants to take the time and go through it.
Yeah, if it's hard to read, just put it on reading mode. Do you want to do that?
I don't.
Firefox? It'll be like in the address bar right next to the star. It'll look like a piece of paper with some writing on it.
Oh, okay.
You just click that, and it'll remove all the CSS code, and it'll just be text.
Oh, so all the weird formatting or whatever nuisance or nonsense they got going on, trying to be fancy or just being old, it'll just turn it into like a text document effectively.
Well,
It'll be like you're reading an ebook.
that's kind of the way it is. It looks like a plain text document.
Oh, okay.
I was reading one of the websites I was looking at reading. It was an anti-gun person, and I don't know who they were, if they just had a blog, but the font they used, it was like a child font. You know, the letters were a little squiggly and a little bigger and smaller, and I don't know how they expect to be taken seriously with that. Oh, I don't even remember who they were, because I looked at a lot of stuff. You know, looked at like Vox, and
what'll happen is somebody will not understand or just not even be paying attention, more than likely. And then what happens is, let's say they're using a Macintosh. I think the easiest way to say is, like, let's say they're using a Macintosh and they're using font 123, but on Google 123 looks different, or on some other browser it looks different. That's the difference between spending time creating content and posting it versus creating content, posting it, and then paying attention to every little thing. So sometimes people just aren't paying attention and they don't realize that it's being displayed funny. I don't want to use that excuse, because some people just aren't, they just never put it up right, but that does happen. Fonts will switch. You'll see it in Instagram titles sometimes. People use stuff in Macintosh that doesn't come over to Android. So like their Instagram stuff will just look like a bunch of boxes and squiggles.
Night Strike fell asleep.
No, not yet. Getting there. I'm getting there, man.
he's
He gets real
snorting,
pissed. He gets real
snorting
pissed when you
coke
talk
so he
about-
can stay awake.
he gets real pissed when you talk about basic HTML.
I think I should.
There.
I think I should go to get some sleep, though.
Thanks for hopping on, man.
Night, guys.
Adios.
Later.
So, Rob, how do we get you one of these gummies?
Got a PO box posted up on my thing if you wanted to send one.
I think you should take some kind of a bucket or a bowl or something and put half those hot gummies and half marijuana gummies, and everybody has to take one. Style. You're either gonna go one way or the other.
That could probably lead to some problems.
It'd be a chat with a lot of views. Just saying.
Yeah. Unfortunately, from people we wouldn't want, probably. I was gonna say, if somebody knows if somebody else is selling them out there, you know what I mean, besides Amazon, I could buy it myself or whatever. It doesn't matter.
I thought they were selling them at the gas stations and stuff. They don't sell the gummies here.
I've only heard of this bear thing recently, so within the last week, so I couldn't say. The chip was supposed to be sold everywhere. I had to drive all over to find that, but I did find it local though. So, I've never heard of the bear sold. So,
A little nitro. So 2-pack. Put it in the cart. I'm sending it to you. I've never I've never sent somebody something from Amazon, so it might take me a minute, but I'll see if I can send it to you. I'll get
Did
it
you get the
ordered.
2-pack?
Yep.
Okay.
man. So who paid you to try to bury me? What's going on here?
Nobody had to pay me.
But what I say to open up this can?
You said the chip wasn't hot enough, so I want to do a hot challenge that's actually hot. I hope both of us are crying and vomiting and shitting our pants by the end of it. That's my goal.
Right.
Maybe one of us dead, even better.
Well, I won't wish death on you, but Yeah, I come to win, so I don't know.
So, Foss, what are we playing for? Do we get a hint?
No.
Is it going to be a trophy that says biggest dumbass?
Hottest asshole.
Yeah.
It will. Once we have a official winner, it'll have your name on it. And I'll have to change a little bit because it was going to be the one chip challenge winner, but now you're doing a gummy, so I have to figure out how to word that.
I don't know. You can maybe the hottest of the hots. If I win, I don't know. It's supposed to be a joke. I don't know.
Flaming assholes, chat.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. I don't know. I'm sure you'll come up with something. Usually,
What do we got?
With that
3 days? 4 days?
Woo.
Oh, you're doing
Yeah,
it
I'm
this
not-
weekend? Wait, when are you doing this?
Yeah, we're doing it this Wednesday.
Wednesday. So in the middle of the week, you're just going to take yourselves out?
Yep.
Man.
I think you
I
play
still-
around with shit like that. That's like, who can stare at the sun longest? Like, you end up with a spot or something. You're going to end up where you can't taste, or like, I can't taste salt anymore, or something like that.
I assumed I hadn't heard about it because nobody survived it. I don't know.
I still have not had anything to drink or eat, and I have not brushed my teeth yet. So I still got the hotness.
I'll be honest. I've taken a shower, drank like 2 cups of coffee, and brushed my teeth. But I was just laying in bed, down for the night. But you guys dragged me back up, so
Get one of them milk baths where you just like, float in milk.
Milk enema.
I don't know about all that.
that first sip of coffee kind of lit my tongue up again, though. Yeah, to be honest. So maybe the water in it or something like that. Kind of reoriented the oils or something. I have no idea, but
This is where they take like the extract, that liquid that's like the millions, and they just drip it onto the chip. So whatever that extract oil just went all over in your mouths, right? So wherever there's like some of it that gets disturbed, it's releasing it again, right? Until it's finally all gone.
Yep.
I mean, that's what happens in your hands, I think. Just keeps coming.
yeah, you don't want to touch nothing. Are these bears coming from America, or are these something out of Thailand or something?
I got no idea.
It'll be there
Yeah.
Tuesday.
They make gummy bears out of cornstarch and sugar, so they're nothing exotic that needs to come from anywhere. Most of the time, you just get a silicone little sheet that has like a billion gummy bear little depressions in it, and they melt down some sugar and cornstarch. I think it's pretty much the ingredients. So obviously, they put some hot sauce in it.
Just trying to figure out the survival rate. That's all. So
I would
Yeah,
imagine.
Put the link out in the chat for.
They're trying to do it
but
cheap.
I'm in.
I think you can do that kind of stuff out of your home too, as long as you got a health certificate. So that's, I'm sure they're doing that in the United States, and probably they're doing it at some gummy bear or candy factory, right?
I put the link in the YouTube chat. If you try this and you die, that is on you.
So I have ordered your gummies. They should be there Tuesday.
Wow. Awesome, man.
Do you get to choose the
Well,
flavor?
I
Is
don't
it-
know if I should thank you or not. Let's see what happens.
What? Here's the good question. What happens if we tie again? What do we top this with?
This might get suicidal.
You just gotta
A little
rub
hot
your
coal?
eyes. Rub your eyes or something gross.
Oh, fuck.
I don't know.
Bathe in hot sauce.
Rubbed your junk.
I figure if you can handle eating a 9 million or whatever, that means that you're numb to it. Like it's whatever it is, it's just going to be like getting hot sauce. I mean, every once in a while you get hot sauce on your hands and you're like, oh shit. guess I had
Did
a
you
cut.
watch? Did you watch that clip I sent you, Baron? I posted in the Gilded.
Right now?
Well, I posted it earlier.
Let me see. I did not.
Uh,
I am watching it right now.
there were some accusations thrown your way.
Do you guys know if this stuff in the bear is like devil's blood or something? I don't know if you've heard of that. I was at a clam bake once where they were putting this stuff on with toothpicks, and it was hot. Like, yeah.
Yeah, those extracts, that's how they do it, right? They just barely touch it with the extract, and it goes, pew, and it like covers the whole item or something. It's like an oil.
Curious if it's the same type of thing. Probably, I assume, in the bear.
Yeah, I don't have a
Okay.
clue.
So I have been accused by my peers of freezing my camera and spitting the food out.
And of being a robot.
Well, I don't know where that robot thing came from, but
Do I have to turn my camera on to eat another one? Silence.
Not in the middle of the night, I don't think so. No.
You're an adult. You can do what you want.
don't need that.
Gunpowder Abuse. He's asking what the heck
I mean,
is wrong with y'all?
I wouldn't
It's-
do it an hour and something into a show. If you plan on eating another one, they cost you $9. I would at least do it as a separate standalone where you just go for an hour and for some cause or for some, by itself, standalone though.
Just make a video. Just you sitting there. You eat the chip, and then double birds the whole time while you're waiting.
For an hour? Just flip off the camera. Oh, I know why they don't trust me. They know I know how to use AI actors. They probably thought I'm not even real. Right?
Oh. I will say it was a little anticlimactic, I thought.
Well, I thought that Chris ate one too, and I'm like, well, he obviously doesn't even give a shit about this pepper or this chip or whatever.
I was
Yep,
expecting more from the participants, honestly. So, but I honestly, like I said, I think the one I did 2 years ago was worse. So, I don't know.
well, and if we do if we do this on Wednesday,
Do-do?
if you guys do on Wednesday, we will not do a bracket.
Good idea.
That didn't go over well.
No, it didn't.
I was told to do a bracket, so by God, I was going to do that goddamn bracket.
Yeah, well, I thought makes sense, I guess. Yeah, but it seems like people want to see the pain, man. They want to see those tears.
I thought it really would have been better if everybody was, weren't shrunken to the side like it was.
Yeah.
Well,
Probably.
that's the thing.
I was-
It was later when you figured out you don't have to do it like that. You could have just left it and then been asking the question to keep people's minds off it. But you could do
I was-
something like, what level of heat is it, and go around the circle. And then, like, what would you rather be doing right now? Go around the circle. Then, like, what would you like to be drinking right now? Go around the circle, right? Like those kind of questions, and just let everybody. Well, if it's only gonna be
Yeah.
two, is other people
Yeah.
going to do it?
I think it's just me and Rob.
Heartburn is what got G23. He got taken out like half an hour in.
Yeah.
It was funny because he's all like, "Oh, this isn't that bad. You get a little warmth in your stomach. It's about
Yeah, he's like,
Well, the dry heaving, and then he goes off camera, and you hear him. Oh!
yeah, it sounded pretty bad.
And how convenient. He's got a bottle of Pep, though. We're just waiting. Yeah.
And I just want to make it clear, the bracket. I was trying to force my way through the bracket because I was told to do the bracket. That was not my idea. I was against the bracket beforehand, but I was given a task to do, and I did that task.
He takes no responsibility for how horrendous that bracket was.
No.
Just following orders doesn't work, man. Mess with it.
Well, I was going to make a very inappropriate joke there.
So just to confirm, we are on for the gummy challenge. Can you stay up that late? Do you know? Should we do a special time slot?
It's talking to you.
I could make it happen, probably. So, to my knowledge, everything should be clear. So,
Okay. I have a feeling we're both going to regret this.
Oh, I showed my wife the clip that I put up on YouTube and kind of explained to her what was happening. And she said it looks like a bunch of high schoolers and that I need to find a better class of people to hang out with.
Oh, wow.
She might not be wrong on that.
Yeah, you might not want to show her the next one then.
I will say it won't be nice to not have gummy bear dust.
Yeah.
Did you get that cleaned up, or
No, it's on my
Is it?
hand right now.
has it eaten its way into the desk?
No, I just touched some. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the form of a gummy bear will be way better. Like that chip is nasty, like nasty. In my opinion, it's a struggle just to get that thing down. You don't want to eat that. Yeah, you really don't.
I'm looking at a piece of dust right now. I got to clean this up. Yeah, because when you open the package, there's like little tiny speckles of this powder that are inside the envelope.
So, well, if you tipped your package up and got all the dust in your mouth, wouldn't have made a mess.
Yeah, then it goes in your fucking eyeball. I ain't doing that.
Oh,
It's
are we
dead.
done? Yeah. Are we done for the night? For some reason, my mouse slowed down.
Low battery.
It shouldn't be. Battery's not that old. I just replaced it a couple of months ago.
Bill Gates wants you to upgrade.
I don't know. I had to speed it up, but it's still a little slow. I don't know what's going on. But let me do. Where is it? GearWebsite.com for your 2A related patches, t-shirts, some 3D printed stuff, and others. Check it out. And since Rob is actually on the chat for once, RNL Displays. Can be found at www.rnldisplays.com. And it has come up in the past. If you see the rifles are angled. They are designed. The displays are designed so the rifles sit level. I don't like them level. I don't think it looks as good. I prefer it angled. So when you see mine, they're usually angled. And let me do one more just because he was here. GunTube.org is a video hosting website with a streaming feature. Created by Night Strike One, a man with a dream to protect the rights to share gun-related content, GunTube.org is free to use.
Hey everyone, GunTube you should go check it out.
If you are frustrated by the limitations imposed by other video sharing sites, check out GunTube.org.
Go ahead, go over to the GunTube. Shut up, you infringe!
GunTube.org. I keep meaning to give away. I've got some extra GunTube lube that I bought extra a while ago to give away in some of the prize packs and stuff, and I keep forgetting to give them away.
Does he secrete that?
It's an oily secretion he emits at night while he's sleeping.
Bathroom gin actually work.
I haven't used it because I'm not done with my hobbies.
Yeah. No, I think what was it? That was CLP, I believe
Yeah.
he had. Yeah, I stand by CLP, so I got some stuff lately, but CLP's always worked for me. It's what I was given years ago. You know what I mean? It's and I'm cheap and it's cheap, so I don't know. But
I've heard that if you rub GunTube lube on your elbows, you'll have the elbows of a teenager again.
Yeah, and my last few videos, you can see the RNL displays in the video, sometimes in the background, sometimes in the foreground. It's that product placement. I am not paid not reimbursed. I do not get any compensation for this, so it's out of the goodness of my heart that I promote RNL displays.
that is true.
Can you make one that would hold an M1 Garand?
Possibly.
He needs to have it.
I'm sure anything can be done. It's whether I can actually get it in, get it done in time or whatever in a reasonable manner. That would be my delay in a sense. So I know I got one decent sized job that's one of those ones that's, I could be there for half the winter. So I'm not sure. I hate to say anything yes or no right at this point. So.
Well, if you ever do, I'd be very interested.
All right. Well, I think you might be the second or third person that's asked. So I mean, that also helps the fact too. So, because when I do any of that, I try to set up like a jig or something, so that way if I gotta repeat it, I can. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do it once, you might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. So I mean, if I get the chance, I'll definitely put that on the list. I mean, technically, I'm slacking on the AK aspect right now. So I got everything that was done. I was supposed to get that out, but I got tied up on other stuff. So to be honest, but, my apologies. So.
And I'll say the gun stock, I still love this color. And it's a little, it's not as rich looking on the camera, I don't think. But I love this color.
Seems to be the best seller. Everybody seemed to like that one. I like it too, honestly, but everybody's got preferences.
I've got the black one and that one. And there was something else I was just going to mention, and I lost it. Probably wasn't all that important.
Dad jokes.
Nah. Oh shit!
That contest we had like 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah, we were supposed to pick the dad jokes, and I forgot again.
Dad
Well, I
jokes during the hot challenge. How about that?
That'll work. I don't think anybody really cared because only like 3 people submitted dad jokes. So, but we will effort to choose a winner on Wednesday, if I can remember.
So how you think you're gonna do with this, Baron? 9 million Scovilles? Right. You've been eating these with breakfast every morning for the last month?
I've never had one. One of 2 things is going to happen. I'm going to be okay, or I'm going to vomit. And seeing as I'm going to eat it on an empty stomach, the only thing I'll be vomiting is that gummy bear. And it's going to...
Well, is that
not
your
gonna feel very
strategy, is go on an empty stomach?
I feel like that... I feel like you coat your stomach with like yogurt and bread. I feel like that's cheating. Like that fucker was burning a hole right in my gut. That entire show.
But I think eating dinner is fair though. Yeah, you got to eat, right? Like, or at that time, I'm not gonna eat at 2 a.m. I guess, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about me.
Yeah.
Well, you handled it very well.
But if you're preparing for the challenge, I do consider that cheating. If you're just like, oh, I'm gonna have lunch, that's different. Oh yeah, that was part of the problem. I didn't react enough. Yeah.
Well, that's where that robot part comes in. Yeah. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm not real.
Like
Foss built me in his garage.
I don't know.
No, if I built you, the fit and finish wouldn't be quite as good. So. You'd look great from 10 feet away, but once you got up close, you'd see all the problems.
I will say it did make me very sleepy. I think it was all the endorphins.
I was told apparently I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it, but whatever in the peppers there is supposedly is good at fighting off cancer and stuff too. So maybe I don't know if there's something to that or not. I don't know, but I figure, hey, the hell, might be a good thing.
Yeah, if you're a cancer, you're sitting there minding your business, and then it's like you get a flood of that business. You're like, nah, go find someplace else to do my thing.
Yeah, it worked.
Probably get rid of all them kind of leeches and what do they call them things that are inside of you? The worms. Get all kinds of parasites out of you.
They go find somebody else to bother.
Yeah, exactly. Somebody who eats like more mild food.
I used to joke around about if you get real sick, just gas yourself because it seems like CS gas or whatever will pretty much clean anything up. So it's somewhat similar. Yeah.
So Rob, is there anything you want to plug?
Just G23 show. If you didn't catch it, it's worth seeing it, at least for G23 anyway. So, but other than that, no, thanks for the invite and have a great night.
Yeah, and Mrs. Hotshot. She didn't do so well. That was rough.
I'm glad you're able to make it finally. Just trying to find. See if I can find the There it is. I'll put a link for the short. The short that I made out of G23. And so, and in the description for the short is a link to the full video. Since it's a short, it keeps playing, so that's all I'm hearing is him.
Ugh.
And then can you zoom in?
Yep. Should have zoomed in on him, not the bracket. My bad. Live and learn.
G-Webs. Thanks for coming on. Anything you want to plug?
Gizzard goes live in a couple hours, so long format show, keeping the community together, talking about guns, often 2A topics. But thanks for the link. Thanks for hosting each week. Looking forward to whatever the hell the Third Amendment is. Has to do with stationery or rights to own cheese or something.
Yeah, I think it's the transportation of pets or something. So there's a link for gearwebsites.com where you can find the 2A merchandise. Coop, I emailed you what I was thinking for the sign, the boar. I don't know if you got it or I'm in no rush, so just kind of whenever. I just want to make sure that you got it. And
Let's see what I've been working on.
let me.
So this here is the environment, right? And right now I've got the camera selected, and over on the left, see when I wiggle the camera on the right, you're seeing what the camera's seeing on the left.
Wow.
So now I'm going to move this over and then see what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Good old
So
Blender.
Yeah, that's Blender. I've been shoving stuff into here to create sort of a moving timeline type of situation.
That's cool. Are you going to add tags on the right
Oh, yeah.
side row?
Yeah. I'm barely
Okay.
getting started. I'm still trying to, well, I'm learning the software and figuring out what all is possible. But yeah, I'm going to definitely be adding more and more to this. Anyway, thanks for the chat. It's fun to have something to listen to that's real instead of listening to, just something off the air.
And okay, good. I just wanted to make sure, Coop. And Guns Barbecue, are you awake? Are you out there? Have you fallen
Negative.
asleep? Have you fallen down and can't get up? I don't think he's there.
He's dreaming about sauces and powders,
He's dreaming of electric sheep.
rubs and cuts.
Pork chops. Baron, is there anything you want to plug?
I'm not a robot. And
Every
tune in to
single
see me
robot.
cry.
Every
Next
single
Wednesday.
robot is programmed to say that and to cry.
Exactly it. That's what a robot would say.
Ever since 2006, everybody knows that's what robots are programmed.
If you listen carefully, you can hear in the background, Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Domo,
Yeah, that fan
domo.
you hear, that's not my computer. That's my brain.
Do not disassemble.
Whoa, I guess I could do if I knew where there we go.
Disco is dead. Disco is not dead. Disco is life.
Wednesday nights at 10:30 after the tactical quiz on Gun Websites channel is the Mouse Party, and we will be doing the Gummy Bear Challenge.
Gummy Bear Challenge.
Gummy Bear
That's
Challenge.
it.
As long as New York Outcast gets his gummy bears in time and puts on his big boy panties. So other than that, thank you to everybody that was out in the side chat, out in the chat participating. I really appreciate it. And those who might have been watching and didn't say anything, I appreciate you too. I know you're there. And those who watch this in replay, again, leave a comment. Let me know. Let me know you were out there. Appreciate you guys too. And other than that, so we'll be going next Sunday also. I'll have to look at, because some of the amendments will group together. Not to say they are lesser amendments, but just the way they that will cover them will probably be easier to group some of them, and then some of them we'll do separately. But other than that,
Do we even need 10 amendments?
Yeah,
yes. It
Third
was-
Amendment is about quartering soldiers in houses.
Yeah.
It's not that big a deal.
Well, unless you want the army soldiers in there wrestling with your things, going through your underwear drawer.
It gives you somebody to talk to.
I have an angle on this. I can do 4 hours. So we're good.
What about if does that mean that if you're here illegally, then we can put soldiers in your house?
Good point.
Well, in some places, if you're here illegally, they'll put them in your house. But before I talk myself into trouble, I appreciate everybody. And if you're up in 5.5 more hours, 5.5? Yeah.
5 1/3.
Something, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern, and somewhere in between, if you're in between, is Gizzard Gary's early bird chat. It's kind of an open forum. Hang out. You can probably even be on if you ask nicely. It's usually fun just to hang out and chit chat. Everybody have a good night.
You still here? It's over. Go home. No.